Ba-da-bum, ba-da-da-da-bum. Let's get this background going. Dun 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 dun. And just waiting on 5:30. Saying if this is too hot. All right, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It is me, Dr. Donna Thomas-Rodgers. Welcome to your morning mental workout. Go ahead on your own and inhale and exhale 3 times. Let's get this party started. Today is Wired Wednesday. We are going to be wiring, doing some LTPing and finding out what that actually is. Before we get that started, we got to go through our normal daily review, talk about neurogenesis, neuroplasticity, and neuropability. So what is neurogenesis? Neurogenesis is the creation of new neurons in your brain. And there are a myriad of ways to get that done. Over here in the land of neuropability, here's what we do. We challenge ourselves, we learn skills, and we keep this environment nice and enriched because we know that's how new neurons survive. Now, where they don't survive is over the land of Loserville in with the unaccountable people. Can't survive over there because it's toxic, it is stressful, and it is fearful. And new neurons are like, I am not about to develop and grow over there. I'm going to stay on over here. Neuroplasticity, that's the brain's ability to rewire itself so it can create new neural pathways. And when you take that and you add it with personal accountability, what you have is neuropability. And that is the brain's ability to wire itself using the 74 principles of real leadership so that you can create unlimited pathways to personal accountability. And we know that that objective for personal accountability is to lead you to your best day in and day out. And the final thing is, guess what? You actually have a CEO of your brain, and it is the executive function. It is where everything happens that allows you to function day in and day out. This is your beautiful brain. Go ahead and use it or lose it. Okay, last Wednesday I kicked off Wired Wednesday, and I talked about and I gave a demonstration of using the different phone cords. You can go back to last week's live. It's called Wired. Good morning, Regina. And you can learn from that process. Today, we are learning a new concept. So just want to review the definition of wired so we're all aligned. And it is characterized by a connection to someone or something. Got it, Regina. Thank you for saying that. Characterized by a connection to someone or something. So what are you wired to? Because that's what neural pathways do. They actually wire and they connect neurons, and that's how you communicate. So I have been looking at for the last couple of days a concept called LTP. And it stands for long-term potentiation. Long-term potentiation. Long-term potentiation. And what that is it's a process by which synaptic connections between the neurons become stronger. Good morning, Lola. Stronger with frequent activation. So think of it this way. And one thing I love about neuroscientists is that they do a great, amazing job of staying in their realm of explanation. And that's why it's taken multiple days. It's finally fallen. So we are at our exposure of LTP. This is the beginning, not the end. So I'm going to give the most, what I believe, the simplest way for you to understand. And hopefully this shows up because this is, good morning, this is white paper. Okay, so what happens is you have neuron A. I didn't want to put letters on it because it's backwards for y'all. And then you have neuron B. And this paperclip right here is a synapse, okay, a synapse. Now, what happens is neuron A fires off, blah, 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 and then it's a connection with this synapse right here, and it goes to B. And if you keep firing it off and keep firing it off and keep firing it off, you're going to create a circuit and a pathway. They're going to start communicating with each other. And when you do this over and over and over and over and over and over and over again, it becomes stronger and stronger and stronger. So the example that I'm going to use is read. I'm going to read, that's A, it's going to connect, and then read daily. So this is B. So every time you say, I'm going to read, bling, 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 and then you read daily, guess what you're going to strengthen? You're going to strengthen your ability to read every single day. And there are 86 billion neurons in the brain, so you can just keep doing these things over and over and over again. So if you think about the 74 principles of real leadership, and you have read is fundamental. And now you say, reading is fundamental and have fun. So you're going to create reading is fundamental and have fun. So you're going to have a new one. Reading is fundamental, challenge yourself. So now you're going to read and you're going to have books that are harder for you. Then you're going to read is fundamental. And so you're going to take risks. So you're going to read something in a foreign language. So from this 1A, you're going to create more and more connections, which is why I say there are unlimited neural pathways for you because of the concept of LTP. Okay, so that again is long-term potentiation, and that's the simplest way that I can explain this without going to the point where y'all are like, what in the hell are you talking about, Dr. Donna? So you have a neuron, it's firing off, it clicks and connects with the electricity of a synapse, and then it gets to B. That's the simplest way. And so now you are just doing it. And the more you do this, this is how you can rewire your brain. This is how you get rid of generational curses. This is how negativity bias got passed down to us after all these fucking years. And so that's why you create new ones so that you don't go back to the old ones. And so if you stop doing B, which is reading every day, and you stop doing A, everything falls apart. Okay, and now use it or lose it, it's no longer together. And then you can do another one. So you can then say, I'm going to think positive. And so every day you think positive, and then every day you do a B activity to it. I got this backwards now. Every day you do a B activity to it, and now it's connected again. So looking at all of the 74 principles of world leadership, now you can see why there are unlimited ways. So this is a visual example of what's happening neurologically in your brain, and that is how you are creating new connections and also creating new neural pathways. And this is the ability to undo some shit that you don't want there and to build something that you actually do want there. So as we know, this is Wired Wednesday, and this is the time for you to let me see what you all have learned. And as a result of that, the question that is on the table is this: what new neural pathways have you created this week based upon the principles of real leadership? And remember, as always, you are dotting so that I know that you are thinking and you are telling me what new neural pathways that you created. Now, I will review the 7 principles that we used over the 6 principles that we used over the last week, which is get organized and stay organized, eliminate distractions, how to take risks, go for it, believe in yourself, and set and maintain high standards. And I just want to make sure that that's all of them. Right. Yes, because we were in the middle. Okay. So get organized and stay organized, eliminate distractions, how to take risks, go for it, believe in yourself, and set and maintain high standards. So at this point, you can go to the website, turnarounddoctor.com, go to your 74 principles of real leadership, and start looking at them. And why is this social media? Okay. Start looking at them and reviewing, and then go over from last Wednesday until yesterday which ones you use. So what new wiring has taken place in your life? And as a friendly reminder, you're looking at situations and you are assessing them based upon 2 types of people being in the world: those who hold themselves personally accountable and those who don't. So when you're looking at an unaccountable situation, as we saw yesterday with loyalty, with the poem from Letters from Louise, we realized that people that hold themselves personally accountable are givers, and people who don't hold themselves personally accountable are takers. And that's what creates a person not being loyal or a person actually being loyal. So now you can wire your brain to understand when someone is doing something that's unaccountable, they are not using the 74 principles of real leadership, which means that their brain is not wired for that. So they did not create LTP at all. They don't have it. And they're using those same old neural pathways that have been passed down from generation to generation to generation to generation. So Nola said, take risk. Using AI images to make signing graphics. Believe in yourself. Learning plays a part of me not playing organized sports was because I never thought I could learn plays. Well, that's interesting. Yes, that makes perfect sense now. Makes perfect sense, because I thought it was because of your you got a temper like your daddy. You didn't get it from your mama. Anyway, that makes perfect sense as well, because the plays are actually complicated. Now, for me, what I learned over the last week are several things. First of all, Chestnut Checkers. This book talks about the inability for people to lead people. And that's the reason why we have so many other things in the world. We have so many other things in the world. But the one thing that we have not been able to best improve or make better are human beings. We are exactly the same as we were thousands and thousands and thousands, and some would argue billions of years ago. We are 100%. Put several 15-year-olds in a room, and they're gonna think they know everything. Put some toddlers in the room, and if they're two or three, you're good to go, and they're just gonna toddler. But if they're 2.5 to 3, that last 6 months, it's gonna be biting and fighting and everything. You give a baby a new toy, the baby's gonna throw the toy and start playing with the box, and so on and so forth. You put 2 teenagers in a room, listen, things happen. Puberty is in effect. You put 2 old people in a room, they're going to start talking about their medications and their doctor's appointments. And so all of what is taking place is exactly the same. And I am saying that because we are not at our best as an adult population. 6.8 billion people, and the wiring is still wiring. There's still all the isms that exist in the world, and nobody really knows how to, in the words of Rodney King, can't we all just get along? No. And you can't, because people have to do this. You're going to have to do some neuropability. You're going to have to do some neuropability for stuff to change. And they might show photos of the grandkids as well. So you're going to need some neuropability to change. You are going to need some neuropability to change. One of the things that I've done is challenge myself. I am now on Threads, and I have used to comment before and then would leave, but I am talking about nothing but real leadership and neuropability and the brain as I respond to people's questions. So there's a group of people on Threads. They actually ask questions, and I don't respond to all of them, especially those that are negativity bias based. But I will, if it makes sense, I will put my input inside of that information. And so, because Believe in Myself was one of the 74 principles of real leadership in the last 6 days, that's what I did. I even have on my phone now pictures of me with my brain t-shirt, screenshots of me that I made into a graphic, because I never even had pictures of myself as my desktop before to believe in myself. So I am in the new neural pathways of believing that I am 100% correct. And people don't, and if you're not a Christian, I'm not telling you to go to church or anything, but when you are chosen to do something that is eunormic, you actually can't believe that it's you. I'm watching House of David now. You feel it, but then you kind of go, am I that? So I'm watching House of David on Amazon Prime, and David told his father, I'm bigger than this. He literally said, this is, I see myself doing something bigger. So he goes in a cave, he fights the lion, and now I'm on episode 2 where something will take place. I don't know if it's going to be a continued series or not, but I feel that. I feel that there is something grander for me to do, but then it's Dr. Don and Thomas-Rodgers, little old me, in theory. But I know that there is so much more that I have to offer the world. And so I'm here to solve this problem in its leadership, a lack of leadership. So I had an interaction with someone yesterday, and they asked a simple question, and I responded to the question, and I put real leadership in there, and they told me, no, have a human response aside from leadership. And I said, there is no aside from leadership for me. Leadership, I wrote a book, it's Everyday Leadership for Everyday Life, and that's You're the CEO of Me Incorporated. And I tried to explain it to her. Then a person came back and wanted to trauma bond and say, well, no, what I'm talking about is this, 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 and this. And I said, that wasn't your original question. They came back and said, really? I went and deleted everything and said, clearly this person is not receptive to what I'm saying. They had an agenda, and their biases wanted me to answer that question in a certain way. And I didn't answer that question in a certain way. That's not what took place at all. So I'm saying this to say, I'm here. The champ is here. Dr. Donna Boomaier. Okay. And it never comes packaged as you think. No one thought a adolescence was going to come and slew Goliath. That's not what happens. So it always comes packaged differently when there has to be an actual disruption that's actually going to change things. Steve Jobs, and people love him. He walked around, he was stinky, he didn't take a shower, he was a fruitarian, and he didn't wear shoes, and he was kind of, he wasn't Pepsi pretty even back then. And ended up, everybody's on an iPhone now, and they don't touch screens and all these Pixar and all these other things that take place, computer in every home. Nobody was really paying attention to that in the late 70s and the early 80s. They thought he was fucking crazy. And so if you see me and you think I'm crazy for me saying that it is neurological, that that's what's going to change human behavior, and that doesn't resonate well with you, then hey, kick rocks. Go back to Loserville and keep sitting in your comfort zone with your hijacked ass and make people complaining about shit that you're never going to do something about. That's just how I see that. Let me go ahead and make that a highlight so we can replay that again and again. Let me see what Nola said. She said, resolve conflict, collaborate. I am also pairing colleges that don't have a lot of NIL money with players who just want to play D1. It's collaboration. Coaches that love ball with players that love playing. Kevin said, read daily. I'm increasing my daily reading from 15 minutes to 15 minutes a day. That is great. And your brain will definitely thank you for that. And yes, Nola, that is also great that you are resolving the conflict that is taking place, in college sports currently, really in sports in general. And so the book Chess Not Checkers, and you all can continue to contribute and as you, because I know you have more than one neural pathway that you created in the last 168 hours. Of course you did. Hint, you did. And the book basically says that in the past, you could play checkers as a leader. As a leader, it was very simple. You came to work, you did some things, and that was it. The world was simple. Back in the day, you could choose to decide when that was. But now that's not the case. Between AI, ChatGTP, moving supply chains, remote working, and all these other things, the world is connected by the internet. You'll be dealing with people in multiple different countries, with multiple different languages, and multiple different cultures, and all of that. And you're trying to still play checkers. It's impossible. Checkers is simple. Everybody has the same pieces. You just have a color. I don't. King me, king me, king me. And it's very simple. When you're playing chess, everything moves differently. There are different pieces on the board, and it's a more complex game. And that's what leadership is right now. And that's what we're missing. And I have been saying that we're missing leaders, but we're actually missing real advanced leaders. So back in the day, cars used to crank up in the front. And now they virtually can drive themselves. That's what happens. There are cameras and all of this. If you think about houses, at one point we would just dig a hole, do our business, cover it up, and keep it moving. And now we have toilets that talk to you and flush themselves, and bidets and all these other things. But people are the same. Parents still have problems raising children. Spouses still have problems with each other. Employers and employees are still having infighting. Politicians and citizens are still going at it. Countries can't get along. Why? Because we are still fucking cranking up the front of us as human beings instead of having self-driving cars. If you think about everything in the world that has advanced, we haven't. We are the simple creatures now. We are the ones. And it seems like, well, people came up with those things. People came up with those things because it was easier to make a computer than it was to make a better person. It's easier to make a computer than you, because the computer parts don't talk back to you. It's easier. Now you have all these pet parents. It's easier for a pet. The pet is not going to yell at you. They might tear your shit up, but they're not going to come home and be like, where you been? And when you going to say something? They could bark or do whatever, but that love from a pet is different than another human being who is equal to you. And so as an adult population, we've done a terrible job of becoming better people. We have done a terrible job of doing that. And the reason why is because we haven't learned how to use our brains. We haven't decided that we're going to use LTP, neurogenesis, neuroplasticity, and neuropability to do something different. So the answer is checkers. You need to do something different. The problem is you won't change. And everybody's doing this. So everybody right now point at the device. Regina, I know you're driving, but everybody else point at me and say, you need to fix this shit. Go ahead. You need to fix this shit. See, when you change, then this shit is going to change. You need to fix this. Point at me. And I'm pointing at you. So how does that feel? You need to fix this shit. You need to fix it. You tell me. You need to fix it. How's that working? This is what you call a dumbass plan. You need to fix it. Fix what? Well, if you would just do what? Exactly. Do what? Do what? Stop being you. Okay, but neurologically, your personality resides in your frontal lobe. So you want me to stop being who I neurologically am and be something simpler than that. So you don't want me to be 50 Shades of Dr. Donna. You want me to be a Black woman from Detroit. Why? Because now you can control that. You can put that in a box And I can pull out the manual for that. Black woman from middle age, Black woman from Detroit, divorced and coming from a toxic family. And I can read that script properly. My husband cheated on me. My mama was a crackhead. My sister was a drunk in a hoe. And my stepfather's a pervert. My real daddy was a drunk. And that's why I be working at this minimum wage hand jobs in the system. And I can't. I said, that works. Until I didn't get that playbook. I didn't get that playbook. As Nola talked about plays and playbooks, I didn't get that playbook. So now I'm a problem because I am off script because I'm in my frontal lobe and that doesn't resonate with me. I like reading. I like being divorced. I like teaching people about the brain. I like being physically fit. I like being able to do what I want to do and teach what I want to teach and live where I live and be who I'm is. All of the different ethnicities that make me who I am. So that's a problem. So the confirmation bias, the conformity bias, the caste system, and all of that is there. So we don't actually have to evolve. We don't actually have to evolve. I could just sit on 2024 Glendale and say, see, that's why I came. That's why I came. That's why I came. And nobody's improving. No, but we're disimproving at this point. And now everybody, well, back in the day, well, it was better back then. It wasn't. You cannot advance all the world, keep people the same, and not rewire your brain to do something better. It's time for something better. We, as individual people, have to make a decision. I'm going to wake up. I'm going to go in my frontal lobe, and I'm going to be me. I'm going to use the 74 principles of real leadership and create new neural pathways for everybody that's best in my community. So you looked at this device that you're using and you pointed at me. You is the problem, Dr. Donna, and I'm saying you is the problem. Now what you can do is bend your wrist. Now you can bend your wrist, and I've done this several times before. You feel the ergonomic unsoundness of this. You feel the wrist hurting, but you is your problem. You and your inability to operate in your frontal lobe consistently on the day-to-day basis and live with a hijacked amygdala state are the problem. And now you're kind of doing this and you're getting, it feels uncomfortable, but then you start realizing I need to read every day because I don't have enough information. I need to help athletes learn how to work with coaches in schools and stop saying NIL, 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 because that's not the fucking answer. Learning how to coach players in this world, in today's world, is actually the answer. New neural pathways is actually the answer because the definition of insanity is doing the same stupid ass dumb fucking plan over and over and over again and somehow thinking you're going to get a better result. That shit ain't never fucking worked. Throughout the history of time, it has never fucking worked. But people keep doing it. Keep on doing it. Why? Because of fear. Because I don't know if I can learn. Kevin, you said you hadn't read 24 books in your whole life and now you're reading 30 minutes a day. You don't know until you go for it. You don't know until you decide I'm going to do LTP. I'm going to take an A with a synapse and a B and I'm going to do that every single day in and day out until I strengthen this. And then I'm going to pivot. And I'm going to do it again, day in and day out. And I'm going to do it again. 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 Do it again until I'm no longer here. Because it's simple to wake up every day in all the biases, in the comfort zones and everything else. The problem is nobody's happy and it's not working for anybody. So people keep doing this and people keep doing this and people keep doing this. And it's only a few of us that have done this. And I would venture to say for the people who are on this live, let me ask you this question. When you stop doing this, and Regina, I know you're driving, but when you stopped doing this and you did this, how'd you feel when you did this? Because this is not comfortable. There's discomfort in this. But when you stopped doing this and said they need to, why didn't they? When are they? When you decided, I'm going to create some new neural pathways. I'm going to go up here. I'm going to get out of my hijacked amygdala and I'm going to do this. How do you feel now waking up every day? I feel great, but I created this. It's mine, so I created it. So how's it going for you? How are you now? What's happening to you now that you've been through risk? Now that you went in and went up here? I felt obligated when I pointed to myself. And you've been doing this, Kevin. You're in your second round of challenges, your third round of challenges. What's your day-to-day life now? Now that you decided, I'm going to be personally accountable. How many more things have you been able to accomplish because you felt obligated? How many more? And as I like to say on those animal commercials when they say no animals were harmed, how many people were actually harmed when you started working on becoming personally accountable? Nobody. It might be some people pissed because you like, nah, I ain't doing that no more, but nobody was harmed. Nobody, because you're focused on you. You're not focused on these other things that have not changed and don't mean a damn thing. You're not. That's not what's taking place. You went up here and you discovered you. You came to your frontal lobe and you discovered the real you. The real you that you actually get to be. That's what started taking place. And that's what needs to take place. And as I continue to watch people on TikTok and Reels and everything else go, as they sit in their junky ass rooms, as they sit in their overweight bodies, as they sit with their badass, uneducated ass children and their grown kids, Mom, you get $20. As they sit in their lavender marriages and everything else that is taking place, and turn a blind eye to all of that. My life experience, mental BBL. What is that? you got a BBL, a Brazilian butt lift? Okay, got it. So that's what's taking place with this neurogenesis, with this neuropability, is that you are creating this. Your brain has to be wired differently. You have to create this on your own. You got to stop saying them. You got to do everybody. And I know there are people who are not going to bend the wrist. I understand that. But when we get to critical mass, that's going to change it. It just needs to be a tipping point. The early adopters know, but then you're going to get critical mass, and then the rest of them will just have to come along. There were people who said, I'll never get a smartphone, and they got a smartphone. I'm never going to the internet, I'm never going to. So I was on the internet the other day. Yeah, y'all figure it out later on. But this notion of they need to, it's neurological. It's neurological. It is neurological. And Nola, the question for you too was, what happened when you bent the wrist and you started going within? What took place? It is neurological. And that's the conundrum of today. Because it feels like, because you're in this hijacked amygdala, and it feels like I can't do it. You can't. In your limbic system located in your temporal lobe. You got to go use your frontal lobe. That's how you wire your brain. Nola said, I became awesome. Yes, you did. My amazing offspring. And it feels better. So you wake up every day wired for negativity bias, wired for, okay, what bullshit am I going to have to contend with today? None. Okay? When you wire your brain to personal accountability and neuropability, things start to change for you because you see the world differently. You see people differently. You find out the emperor has no clothes on, and you find out what you're capable of. You actually do. And until that takes place, nothing is going to change globally. Now, I know I got a big job ahead of me. I recognize that. But wiring your brain to using the 74 principles of real leadership. If it's your first time here, go to the website, turnarounddoctor.com, and look at the 74 principles of real leadership. Then go online and buy my book, Real Leaders Wear Pink. Because this is penicillin. This is oxygen. This is H2O. This is how we change human beings. Oh, were you trying to take I ain't trying to take shit from you. I'm actually giving you things. I'm actually giving you the use of your amazing brain. Your ability to be the CEO of Me Incorporated. And then you say, well, I don't want to be a leader. Why not? You're with you everywhere you go. Wouldn't you prefer to lead your life? Wouldn't you want to do that? Because there are two very important, I'm going to say four, very important principles of real leadership. Lead by example, but be willing to follow someone else. Provide coaching, and be coachable. Those four right there make it so you can get along and learn from everybody. Handle conflict when it occurs. When you put those five together, any organization can run effectively. A household, a nonprofit, a church, a for-profit, a Fortune 100, a small business, an itty-bitty business. Anytime you interact with anybody, a friend group. Wouldn't it be great if you had your friend group and everybody was personally accountable? They were wired for best. Wouldn't that be amazing? Everybody showed up on time and did everything they needed to do, and y'all had a good time, because have fun is one of the 74 principles of real leadership, and then y'all went home. You went on a girls trip, a guy trip, a friend trip, and you actually got to relax, because that's one of the 74 principles of real leadership too. Everybody paid their right amount of money and got there, had fun, and left rejuvenated and ready to come back and be a bad mofo, because that's what real leadership does. That's what Neuropability does. It allows you to have this amazing experience every single day of your life until you're no longer here. And it doesn't mean perfect. It doesn't mean that you're not going to have character building days. That's not what it does. What it means that you're going to have the best day every day going forward instead of your worst day. You are not going to be wired for worst. You are going to be wired for best, but you got to bend the wrist. You got to bend the wrist. Yesterday, I was commenting on something, and I said reading, and then this person and I went back and forth. I can't tell who they are because of the username, and they don't have a profile photo. They were asking for information, and I said reading, and they said, well, in your own words. Who fucking words else would I use? Anyway, long story short, I sent over 2 videos that I have that teaches you how to read a book in 7 days. I followed up with my process, Read Who Moved My Cheese, and then the 1 Minute Manager, because they're very quick reads, and stay with books that are 200 words or less. And then the person said, okay, that's cool. And I said, I struggle with reading. Tell me about your experience. I'm not going to do that. I gave the person an article talking about the orthographic processing center and in the brain, which is the reason why I struggle, because some people think they have dyslexia, but it might be the orthographic processing center in your brain. So you might want to research that, because of dyslexia, all that's not working is actually the orthographic processing. Person came back and said, I wish the article would have gave me some ideas so I could work with people. What's your story? And then I found myself about to say my story. I said, no. So I sent them to study.com. You can sign up. You get a free account. That's what they said. I didn't do it myself, but it talks about that and the phonological system. And so that person, I was getting ready to go down a path of doing the work for them. And I stopped myself and I said, no, I'm going to empower you to do it. If this is something that you want to do, I gave you the information and now you need to do it. Because what happens is when you're personally accountable, the unaccountable people make you do everything and then they don't appreciate it and they walk away from it. I helped my sister build a business for 3 years and she walked away from everything and deleted it because she did not have to do the work. I had to do the work. I left with all the skill sets. She don't have skill sets, but that's why you hold people personally accountable. So I am telling you, it's your responsibility to apply what I am telling you to do. It's your responsibility to determine which principles of real leadership you're going to use every day. You have to create this LTP. You have to do it on your own. This is your job because it's your brain and it's your life where you are. None of us, well, Nola and I are in the same location, but nobody else is in the same location. So in order for you to have a better existence, you're going to have to wire your brain how you need it to be wired. You're going to create your very own neural pathways. You have to do it. No one else is coming to do it for you. And it isn't anybody else's responsibility. And you've allowed people to make you think it is, so it lets you off the hook. If your dumb ass can't read, that shit's on you. If your dumb ass can't fucking count, that shit's on you. If you can't get along with people and they're still in your life and you're putting up with it, that shit's on you and no fucking body else, because you're the one who said yes to it. You said yes to it. And now you want to act like you did. If you don't like the life that you currently have, the government is not responsible for that shit. You are. Your parents are not responsible for that shit. You are, because you have a brain that you can wire to something different. But that means you're going to have to do something. You're going to have to fucking change. You're going to have to wake up every day and learn something and increase your working memory. You're going to have to wire your brain differently. That's my whole point. I am very much at at a very high level of I'm sick of y'all. And I'm not talking about the people that are here every day. I'm talking about the visitors doing drive-bys and the people that are going to watch this on a replay. Stop doing this. This ain't going to wire shit. This is not going. Don't pay the electric bill at your house and go point at all the people who got lights in your neighborhood. You didn't pay the electric bill. So this right here. See, this is what they need to do. This is what they need to do. And you sitting in the fucking dark doing like this. Fix you first. Keep your side of the street clean. Because what happens is you got to go in and dig up all that stuff. It's like an old wound or a bad tooth, and you got to dig it out, get all the rottenness out, and now you can go ahead and decide if you're going to put a cap or do a root canal or extract the whole tooth and put an implant in, get dentures or whatever. But you don't want to fix you. And that's why you're pointing this way. Because this is so much easier, as Kevin said. I feel pointed out. I feel obligated now. Yes. And every adult needs to be doing this. Every adult globally needs to be doing this. But you programmed to do this. And that's why shit ain't getting fixed. And y'all kind of like it that way. Because then you could just talk shit and you ain't got to do shit. But that's not going to work. It's not going to work. Not as long as I'm living. Because I'm not going to let you feel good about doing bad shit. I'm not going to let you feel good about sitting in a comfort zone doing absolutely nothing but wasting your life doing this. Your brain needs to be wired for best. Your brain needs to be wired. This is the definition of insanity. So as you can see, the people who are here that are available today have said what they have done to wire your brain. What you doing? What you doing to wire your brain? What is it that you are doing? And I'm going to say nothing because I didn't teach you how to hold yourself personally accountable. So you ain't doing shit as far as I'm concerned. And I'm bold enough at this point to say that. There are very few people in this world holding themselves personally accountable to become their best. The rest of y'all are unaccountable. The rest of y'all, everybody. And I don't care if you're a world leader or somebody being a cashier at a grocery store. And no position is better than the other. I'm just saying at any level in the world. You stay-at-home parent. Don't matter. You're being unaccountable and it's time to do something differently. It's time to wire your brain. It's time to have LTP. That's what it's time for. It's time for new neural pathways. And the way to do that is the 74 Principles of Real Leadership. And you trying to sell me some shit. No, I ain't. I'm trying to tell you some shit. I'm trying to tell you what needs to be done in order for you to have a better existence where you are, day in and day out. Day in and day out. Stop paying attention to stuff that ain't got shit to do with you. And you becoming your best, because it's just smoke screens and mirrors. It's just amygdala hijacking, so you won't go back into your frontal lobe and start accessing your brain correctly. You like that? That was cold. Let me go ahead, make a highlight, because I don't even know what I said. Y'all see that scene in Training Day? Training Day, when he King Kong ain't got shit on me. I'll run this motherfucker, right? And then they cut, and he said, "Did you get it?" Because I don't know where that came from. It happens. I used to give speeches. They'd be like, "Oh my God, that part when you said," I'm like, "Hope y'all filmed it. Hope y'all filmed it." It's like Lil Wayne going to booth, blah, 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 blah. Now he got to go back and listen to it because he don't even know what he said. Told y'all my line name was promptu, so I can extemporaneously say some things. No, if you want to say whatever I said, or let me know. I'm at 37 minutes, somewhere around there, 35, 37 minutes. So in summary, ladies and gentlemen, we're getting ready to get to the cognition portion of this. It is your responsibility to wire your brain. I am telling you how to do it. It's your responsibility to do it. And if you don't want to do it, don't come back over here. Ain't no handouts over here. Every now and then there's a hand up, but it's up to you. It is up to you. It is not my job, not my responsibility to do it for you. Give a man a fish, they will eat for a day. Teach him how to fish, and he will eat for a lifetime. With that being said, go to my website, theturnarounddoctor.com. You want to go to the social media tab. When you get to the social media tab, you're going to scroll all the way down. Third one from the bottom is Letters from Louise. Letters from Louise. And today's poem in Letters from Louise is actually me. I don't want to sign in. Are you going to let me? Okay. And the poem for today is Keep. It is Keep. So go ahead and read Keep. Oh, it is some old school pimp stuff. It is. But they said the other way. The game, it is a spin on that. The game is to be sold, not told. So I flipped it. I think that might even be in Pimpin' Ken's book, of which I did read and review, because I will take information from anybody, because it's an example of what to do and what not to do. Okay, so you're going to the website, theturnarounddoctor.com. You're going to the social media tab, and then 3 up from the bottom of the social media tab is Letters from Louise. You're going to click on that and scroll down until you get to Keep, K-E-E-P, Keep. And that's also the PA for today and the Real Leader Brain for today. You're going to read it, ... and then you're going to type in what comes up for you. What is your takeaway? What resonates with you? How you feel, whatever you feel fit. Feel free to type. Not about to tell you how you need to feel about something that I wrote. That's totally up to you. That's what it was. Got it. I'm going to turn this the other way. That's not going to work. Kevin said, the thing you keep will shape and define you. And Nola said, keep the good, get rid of the bad. Okay. Excuse me. First thing I'd like to say is when I wrote this poem, it's 10 lines on purpose. That's number 1. Number 2, the method for this was that I wanted to start with keep. I wanted to put keep in the middle, and then I wanted to put keep at the end. So the first 3 sentences are keep at the front. The 4 in the middle have keep in the middle. If you keep, if you keep. And then the last 3 have keep at the end. So that was my methodology for writing this poem. And again, as I've mentioned previously, I wanted to challenge myself not only to use the letters of the alphabet, hence Letters of Louise, but then also to challenge myself in writing and seeing if I could convey a message using very simplistic methodologies to write. So could I keep it short? Haha. And then could it still have value and meaning with those 3 criterion? So how I write is I find the word, look the word up, pick the meaning, and then develop the format for the poem. So none of the poems have the same exact format, and that was designed on purpose, again, to challenge myself, even though I've only written 28 poems, still want to keep the principles of real leadership out in the forefront to show what is actual possible when you put even writing constraints on yourself. Because I just need to be able to create. I just need to be able to create. Okay, cool. Well, I'm going to challenge myself while I am creating. And yes, that is both. I agree with both you and Kevin and what you're saying and your assessment of that. Yeah, now I'm following up from yesterday. What did you do to start setting and maintaining high standards? Yes, thank you for that, Nola. I did have a methodology for it. I don't do anything without a strategy. And it was effortless, so you just kept saying the keep, but it was bringing you from keep to keep to keep at the end. So it's taking you on a keep journey diagonally. Because that's what that's what Vogue taught me too, is that you can go ... make the line go all the way. You can keep it, everything is aligned, right, justified, so you can do things formatically. I don't even know if that's a word. You can format it to also get the message across when reading it. Obviously, it would be different if you were saying it out loud. And so I probably would change my intonation if I was saying it out loud. Like I keep. And then as we got to the end, I would have made the keep louder and louder. I contacted a few athletes to get the transfer portal going. Got it. And I am now loud and proud about personal accountability. I did have some people say some foul things to me. Someone tried to say something that was, in theory, supposed to be sexually offensive to me. But I understood why he was doing it, because of a hijacked amygdala and conformity bias and age bias and also gender bias. So he just got blocked. Because I really am not for people and their biases and conformity and all. It just, and this happens too, because my 52nd birthday is coming up. And when I get towards my birthday, I'm not a person that celebrates birthday. I'm looking at it as I'm closing out 51, coming into 52. So what do I want 52 to be about? That's what I'm actually focused on. So May 10th is just a end to a beginning, closing out and starting anew. You contacted 4. Is that what the 4 is for, Nola? Two basketball, 2 football. Got it. Keep my synapses. Put it this way. I started sending daily messages to my retail staff about great accomplishments from the day before. We called that hoots and salutes when I was in the Army. I'm about to call you David. Kevin. I think it was Army. Yeah, it's got to be hoots and salutes. So that's what we called that and they did it at Starbucks, because when we used to go to the Starbucks by the house, it's since been removed and now they have another coffee shop there. But I would see them do it to each other when they had meetings and they were sitting down talking to each other, and it'd be on a card and all of that. So that is rewarding openly, is what that is. That's one of the 74 principles of real leadership as well. So you combined it. So you created 2 neural pathways by doing that. I would also like to ask this question to you, Kevin. Do you find that your vocabulary is improving now that you're reading more and multiple times a day? And Regina, you could just email me what you did for your set and maintain high standards. And I'm just waiting. Kevin, are you answering my question? Because I didn't see ... Or you can email me and I can just... Okay, absolutely. Dr. Donna's Word University. I don't know if you're going to graduate because I keep making up new words, but I get it. Okay, so today's action, because we didn't review a real leader principle. Today, you are going to have a conversation with someone about what you have wired in the last week. So you're going to have a conversation and you're literally going to tell people, I am using Neuropability and I am rewiring my brain. And then the last week, here is the ways. If it's more than one way, it should be. But here are the ways that I have wired, rewired, or wired new neural pathways in my brain. And the reason why you're going to do that is because you're going to challenge yourself. So the principles of real leadership that you're going to use is you're going to challenge yourself. You are going to communicate effectively. you are going to hold yourself personally accountable, and by holding another person personally accountable by giving them the information about personal accountability. So in the event you need to hold them personally accountable in the future, they will be already aware that this is something that you are actually doing. And then you're going to participate and listen, because what's going to happen is that person is going to start asking you questions, and you're going to have to listen as you answer. So you're going to create this new communication relationship with someone, or advance the relationship that you have, so that people can start to have experiences with real leadership. And as we remember that I told you last week, that when you ask the question, the brain has to answer that question, and it's going to give a person some serotonin automatically. They're going to answer the question, they're going to get their own dopamine, and that interaction is going to create oxytocin. So you can have 3 of the natural hormones taking place in a positive way, instead of go dance, go outside for a walk, do some dumb shit that's not actually going to fucking matter, because it's not going to create any neurogenesis whatsoever. So that's the whole purpose of it. So you're going to have that conversation with someone about why you're doing it, because you're in your community. So you are responsible for the people that are in your community, and it is your responsibility to start saying personal accountability. And I can say it, and I got credibility, and that's why I'll use Nola as an example. When we used to start, but many years ago, when she would go to the appointments, she would stand behind me, and now I'm the first person at the client seat. So now I sit in the car. You are going to interact with them. You're going to walk around. You're going to do this because these are your clients. This is your business. I know I got a command presence. I know I'm a bad mofo. They're going to do everything I tell them to do. That's not going to help you. So this is how we change where we are. You have to do that. You're obligated. If you are having problems with your family, if you want your employees to be better, if you want to have better athletes and better connections with coaches, you have to be the person that does that, because this is about standing up for yourself. And people don't do that. People are not programmed or wired to stand up for themselves. They've been told, go get a leader, go get the person in charge, and not do that. And the example, and I don't know if I said this, but T-Mobile, I've been a T-Mobile customer for about 17 years, got that text message that they said they're going to go up $5 on every line and do all of this. And I said, no, you're not. We were at an appointment. Nola came back to the car. I was on my phone. She's like, oh, shit, you on your phone. You ain't got no doctor's appointments. Who are you talking to? I said, T-Mobile. And by the time we finish with the appointment, my bill is going to increase by exactly $1. And I have free Netflix and free Apple TV for 6 months. Now, because I'm like, we're not doing this. I've been here for 17 years, and there has to be some type of loyalty for the people who've been here long term. And I understand you haven't made any changes in 10 years, but y'all, I said, this is like breaking up with me through text message. If we're going to break up, you're supposed to take me to dinner after 17 years. I'm supposed to get a meal out of this or something. So I said, y'all could send me a thank you note. And then said, and oh, by the way, but to just send me a random text message like I'm going to jump off, that's not going to work. And yes, this was on a recorded message. And I sure did tell Shay that. That's who I was talking to. So I'm telling you that this is the beginning of you telling people what you're doing. People, if you go to church, they're like, hey, tell people get saved, sanctified, and filled with the Holy Ghost in Jesus' name. And you go up and I'm saved, sanctified. And now I'm saying it's time. You are wiring your brain to be able to communicate effectively, to let people know what it is that you're actually doing. Now, some people it might resonate with and some people it won't, but you're planting seeds to let them know. So as they see you evolving and changing, they can understand what that is. And people will be receptive. Again, early adopters, as Regina indicated, they're people that are high functioning on their own, self-discipline, will jump right on it. And people that won't. But when you start holding them personally accountable, you can say, remember when I had that conversation with you about what I was wiring my brain for? So it's wired for personal accountability. So right now I'm about to hold you personally accountable, because that's one of the 74 principles of real leadership. And now this is a lead in. So you're priming the pump and you're letting them know that this is coming. So nobody will be shocked. And then all of a sudden, here you come with. It's not all of a sudden. It's not all of a sudden. And the final story that I will say is, and I believe I've said this story before, when Nola was 3, we still had her stroller. And I told her, when you turn 4, no more, she called it the buggy. And I said, no more buggy. So for her whole 3 years, and we were on our way to the mall, I had already given it away. And we got out the car, went to valet, and she went to the back trying to get her buggy. I said, no more buggy. She's like, go buggy. I'm like, no more buggy. Door backpack. Here you go. And she had a moment. We walked in the mall and sat at the bench, and I let her have her moment, and then we moved on. And that was that. So you are letting them know, no more buggy. And you're just using this as a way to say, hey, you're getting ready to start being held personally accountable. I'm using my brain and wiring it, and you need to do the same thing if you plan on sticking around with me. Final question for today is, what have you learned? What have you learned today? I learned that I'm really done with unaccountable people. I know that's not how you use that at all. I think that's Nicki Minaj, not, but I am. I'm 1000% on the scale of 1 to 2, done with the bull and the nonsense. I'm giving out penicillin. I got the cure for what ails you. I'll never fail you. I'm a real leader. I'm going to give you what you need. See, I can't rap. Every time if I'm just doing, maybe I was a pimp in another life. That's why there's not too many pimps that's rapping. You know what I'm saying? I am an orator. That's what I am. I have a way with words. I'm a wordsmith. If you do the daily challenge, you'll find out what that is. And Noah said you got to connect two things to have a neural pathway. Yes, you do. Two neurons with a synapse in the middle. And you repeat it again and again and again and again. And it creates a circuit. And now it's automatically going to keep going there. And that's where we are in the world. People are repeating these pathways that have been created and passed down for year after year after year. And no one is checking to see if it's working. They think that it's working, but then on the inside, they kind of feel like, but why? I feel like it's working better for them. And everybody is feeling like it's working better for them. That's why people keep saying, you need to change, you need to change, you need to change so to work better for me. If I got an open sucking chest wound, blood is spilling out everywhere, and I'm looking at you, and I keep telling you, you need to do something. You need to do something. You need to change. And I need to, I need to tend to me. I need to repair what's going on over here. And if I fix that, if I'm trying to pressure dressing and stitch up and all of that, I really ain't got time to be trying to determine what's happening over there with you. It's amazing when you go within how much you are no longer tuned into what's happening without, especially if it's some nonsense and some bullshit. So yes, you need to create neurogenesis, and you all need to start having conversations with people around you about the wiring, because if not, you're going to get that message at night. You're going to get some nonsense and some bullcrap coming towards you. So today is a great day because you are telling them the benefits of wiring neural pathways. And again, some people are going to have a fixed mindset and they're going to stay in Loserville. And that's cool. They just don't get to have access to you anymore. That's what personal accountability says. You can have access to me if you're personally accountable too. And I will use it this way. If someone is addicted to drugs and alcohol, truly addicted, where every time they come around, you got to grab your purse and you don't know what's going to happen, or they're raging and all of those things, you would not let them around you. You definitely wouldn't let them around your children, your grandchildren, your loved ones. So that's how you need to start saying unaccountable people, because they're going to cause a fucking problem at some point. It's Bend the Wrist, something you created today while on the live, or is it another segment you created? I created it previously. So I forgot. Thank you, Kevin. I'm sorry if I shocked y'all. I've been saying bend the wrist. Since I've been doing lives, I've been saying bend the wrist. I just haven't said it here on YouTube, but I used to say it a lot early on in my, when I was still new to TikTok over, guess what? Today is, guess what today is? Mike. Guess what today is? That commercial is hump day. It is day 500. of me being live consecutively. Yeah, 500 days, baby. 500 days, baby. Woo, woo. 500 days. What? Yes. And you said, I'm going to talk to T-Mobile, Lola. You like, listen, Dr. Donna said she got the hookup. Where mine at? Where mine? I'm like, I need senior citizen. I need doggone veterans. I need old women. I need the perimenopausal T-Mobile discount, which y'all got for people having hot flashes. I want all of it. 500 days, baby. What? Let me tell you, okay? Consecutively. That's what I'm talking about. And it ain't been easy. I've had some weary days. I've had some trolls to block. But when I think things over, you know what? All of my good lives outweigh my bad lives. So I won't complain. Okay. Sometimes. No, okay. All right. So thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. You told me what you learned today, and we're going to keep learning. Go ahead and have those conversations. I'm telling you, people are going to be shocked as shit when you start talking about the brain. They look at you like, the brain? What is the world that's going on? So again, no unaccountable people in your life. You're going to be so much freer and lighter and happier. You're going to have peace and no more amygdala hijacking. Your limbic system is going to start functioning like it was designed to function. Only a real threat. Only a real hot flash. It's not these false positives. You're going to be able to just reside in the frontal lobe with the executive function of your mind. You're going to be able to do big shit because that's just how it goes when you hold yourself personally accountable. So thank you so much for your participation in learning how to do you. Just remember, and if you ever have a conversation with an unaccountable person, go ahead and tell them to bend the wrist. They can be like, ouch, that hurt. Yeah, it should. You trying to hurt somebody else? Go ahead. Self-inflicted wounds. That's what you got. So do something about it. Tend to yours, and I will tend to mine. All right, you all go off and have a great rest of your day, and I will be back, God willing, higher power and the universe, same time, same place, same face. One of my other t-shirts. Y'all take care. Adios.